So, while Democrats are unable to get access to El Salvadoran death camps, the death camps, Republicans are just waltzing right in, them McGregor walking into the death camps with Bukele's permission, apparently. According to Newsweek, a Republican was allowed into El Salvador's prisons, while Democrats, a specific Democrat in particular, was denied access. So, let's read into the article. A Republican lawmaker was granted access to El Salvador's notorious super prison, while a Democrat senator's request to visit the detained U.S. citizen Kilmar Abrego Garcia was denied by President Nayib Bukele's government. Representative Riley Moore of West Virginia's 2nd District shared photos from inside El Salvador's high-security terrorism confinement center on Wednesday. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen also visited El Salvador on Wednesday to call for Abrego Garcia's release. The Salvadoran government denied Van Hollen's request to meet his constituent. However, Bukele's government appeared to approve Moore's request to visit the facility. Abrego Garcia's deportation has become a central issue in the national debate on immigration enforcement under Donald Trump, who has vowed to implement the largest mass deportation effort in U.S. history. I leave now even more determined to support Trump's effort to secure our homeland, Moore wrote in a post on social media. It's like the nigga went down there. They locked his ass in a in one of those re-education camps, had a candlelight circle around him a gazillion times, and now he's emerged from the camp talking about some I leave now, even more determined to support my Lord and Savior's efforts to secure our homeland. Who talks like that? That's how you talk when you're lying. That's how you talk when either A, you lying like a motherfucker, or B, somebody told you to lie for your own personal gain, or because they're threatening you. Okay, if what's going on at CCOT is so safe, so humane, and so acceptable, why is it that the cult is allowed in? The cult of psychotic, white nationalist, misogynistic lunatics are able to waltz in, but average, everyday Americans who just so happen to be Democrat, who just so happen to be a politician, who just so happen to be Abrego Garcia's representative, why can't he go into the prison? I'll tell you why. Bukele knows that what he's doing is inhumane. He knows that what he's doing will not be seen positively by history. Henceforth, he will allow loyal, complicit cult members to walk in, probably kick it with the guards, probably kick it with Bukele himself, grab some drinks, do whatever it is oligarchical meat riders do when they're in El Salvador. Pretend like they saw a single prisoner, emerge and tell us all about how you too can benefit from being locked away and never released. Like, that's the reality of what we're seeing here. Sen Van Hollen said El Salvador's president informed him that a visit was not possible. He also said the man was being kept in the prison because the Trump administration is paying them to keep deportees detained. By paying them, I think he means they're paying him. I think the only reason why Bukele is taking this offer is because he's personally gaining from it. And this is short-sighted because Donald Trump is literally telling Bukele one of the most scary things you could ever hear is the homegrowns are next. If Bukele was smart, he would immediately be like, look, big homie, like, I love the money you're sending me. I love the clout you're giving me. But, like, could you just chill with sending citizens? Because, like, if you're not in power in 10 years and I have a bunch of American citizens here, dead or alive, I'm in bad shape. I'm in trouble. Something could happen to me. If I was Bukele, I'd be like, Unc, I love you, I fuck with you, but like, let's relax. Instead, it seems like Bukele is happy to be complicit, completely in the total faith that nothing could ever go wrong. Trump's always going to be around, or someone like him is going to succeed him, and be an effective leader who can maintain the cult in his absence, in his permanent absence, in his passing, in the event of Trump's passing. If Bukele believes that, he's even dumber than I thought. Bukele should be thinking about what happens when Trump's not here anymore. Bukele is a young guy in comparison to Trump. He stands to gain nothing from engaging in this kind of behavior. Does he actually believe that in the event that he does all of this, that when it's all said and done, the next president that's completely anti-Trump is going to just sit there and say, well, let's let bygones be bygones. If there's one thing America is addicted to, it's revenge. I don't know if Bukele was around for 9/11. I'm not sure when he was born. I don't know if he was born last night. But if there's one thing this nation is good at in particular, it's going overboard in the seeking of revenge. So I think Bukele, if he was smart, would relax. And it's also a message he's sending. The fact that he would dismiss the Democrat but welcome the Republican is basically him saying, like, we're all in this together. This is 100% a conspiracy. We are on their team. We are aligned with Trump and his MAGA minions. He's basically sending a message to the entire country that he will do what these MAGA folks tell him to do. So let's continue to read the article. I asked the vice president if I could meet with Abrego Garcia, and he said, well, you need to make earlier provisions to go visit CCOT, Van Hollen said at a press conference. I said, I'm not interested at this moment in taking a tour of CCOT. I just want to meet with Mr. Abrego Garcia. He said he was not able to make that happen. So either Garcia is dead, which, again, is just a ridiculously insane miscalculation by Bukele. Like, to kill, to, like, basically, like, openly tell the president of the United States, yeah, I'm going to facilitate the deaths of legally present migrants in your country and your own citizens, completely just, like, disregarding the possibility of you and your ilk not running the United States anymore. I'm just gonna 100% aid and abet this with no care or concern for what could happen within the next 8 years. Trump might not be around 10 years from now. Even if he is, he might not be functional. It's very possible that he won't even be able to speak in the next 8 years. Age is a motherfucker, but Joe Biden went from smiling sharply and speaking coherently to barely being able to talk within a span of like 5 or 6 years. Trump, he's doing okay for himself right now, but in the next 10 years, I expect him to still be alive. I can't see him being the same leader he is right now. I can't see the cult being as strong as it is right now 10 years from now, especially if he intends to go down the absolutely self-destructive route he intends to go down. It's just going to be an old man who can barely talk, clinging to this cult-like legacy of what things used to be like. I don't even know why Bukele would throw his lot in with this, outside of like ideological fervor. There's no reason, really no strategically sound, politically brained reason to even go this far with Trump. Needless to say, Bukele is making his allegiance abundantly clear. He is allowing Republicans to supposedly visit CCOT, while simultaneously not allowing Democrats to visit CCOT. Honest to God, this is like conservatives. This is how conservatives want government to work. Notice how J.D. Vance was talking to Zelensky. You were flying around and walking around with the opposition. Now thank us. Because in the minds of conservatives, we are not Americans, liberals, progressives, whatever you identify as. If you are on the left, if the flag that you fly is red, white, and blue with stars on it and not Trump on it, if you're one of those kinds of people, they hate you. In their minds, you are not an American. That's the kind of crazy, psycho, cuckoo, crazy shit you niggas believe. And then they have the audacity to insinuate that we are divisive and we are crazy. Bukele is making his allegiance abundantly clear. He is in the service of Donald Trump and his cohorts. And if you visit these prisons, he will not allow you to see anything. If you visit his country, he will not allow you to see a single prison. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, you're allowed to waltz right in. Very clear, very concise, very obvious political statement. So the Republican Party wants to be complicit in this, and they're sending people who aren't even El Salvadoran to this prison. So we could expect maybe Europeans to be sent there. We could expect, all sorts of international citizens to be sent to this prison. It's very possible that if you're a European here visiting and you say something negative about Trump, you could be arrested by ICE and shipped off to El Salvador. That's a real possibility that you cannot ignore. Not to mention the fact that American tourism is taking a significant hit because of Trump's behavior. This nation is going to economically collapse because of Donald Trump. Why should anybody visit the United States from abroad knowing you could be plucked up and sent to Bukele's death camps? Why would anybody visit? I didn't realize how many people visited this country until I went to Wyoming. I'm like, God damn, nobody here speaks it. I was in Yellowstone, not a single motherfucker. Bro, nobody spoke English, bro. Besides the white folks there. Even the black people didn't even speak. I'm like, wait, huh? Bro, people really do visit the United States. Obviously, because we have, geographical landmarks that are really interesting to see and stuff like that. But sometimes you don't really realize how many people from abroad really are here until you go to these kinds of places where people want to visit and see certain things. The idea of all of that tourism going down the drain because Donald Trump's ego, I mean, like, what is happening? We are supposed to be grown-ass adults. But I'm not really seeing grown nigga activity here. I'm kind of seeing like petulant, childish foolishness, which I guess is to be expected from a Trump administration. So Bukele has basically made his allegiance abundantly clear. His allegiance is to Donald Trump. His allegiance is to the Republican Party. And if you are a Democrat, you are not welcome to know the truth. Part of me doesn't even really believe that this Republican was allowed into CCOT. Part of me believes he showed up. They let him, chill out, drink something, eat something, showed him some nice hospitality, told him a script. Look, this is what you about to say. Take this, look at the camera, say that, boom, leave it at that. That's what it seems like is happening. So, Bukele, man, I don't know what the fuck, why? Like, this could end so bad. Like, what if MAGA's not in power in 12 years? What if MAGA's not in power in 12 years? Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Like, okay. It's like, the fact that I even have to say this is crazy to me. Like, the idea that I even have to, like, bring up this hypothetical for someone to understand how risky this is. But it is what it is.